What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so you guys remember back in July of this year, I think it was, when the White House was going through the motions of interviewing Ghislaine Maxwell, and it was Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, the guy on the right here, who asked Ghislaine Maxwell, obviously, best known as the partner in crime as far as with Jeffrey Epstein, as far as running that trafficking ring, which preyed on literally thousands of girls globally, victimized countless women and girls from around the globe, basically tricked them into thinking that they were trying out for a modeling agency, a front, which was, like I said, only there to trick them into ultimately selling their bodies, okay, and sometimes forcefully, not even necessarily selling themselves. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to go into the details of this shit, man. It's fucking sick. It's fucking sick and disgusting, right? But people aren't really outraged by it. People act like they are, but they're not really outraged. And that's another story, another video for another day, another story for another day. But anyway, Blanche asked Ghislaine Maxwell a series of questions, which really was a formality. As long as she said what the administration wanted her to say, they would reward her if she had Trump off the hook or put Trump off the hook. They reward her by putting her in a comfy country club prison, which we all saw the play coming a million miles away. And just like clockwork, I think like 2 weeks later, she packed her bags, moved to a country club comfy prison in Texas, where she lives better than probably 98% of the people in America and 99% of people across the world. Okay? But during that, I guess you call it the deposition. I don't know what you would legally call that term. Is it an interview or deposition legally? Let's just go with deposition. During the deposition, Ghislaine Maxwell said something that apparently Todd Blanche just completely ignored. And that is that she knew for a fact that several members of Trump's cabinet knew Jeffrey Epstein. Knew Epstein. And when she said it, we listened to the audio. The lawyer, Trump's personal lawyer, by the way, who is masquerading as Deputy Attorney General, said nothing. He didn't say anything. He didn't react to it. He kept moving as if he either didn't hear it or that's something that he already knew. So this isn't just about Trump. It never has been. Even within the administration, it's not about Trump. This is the biggest cover-up in the history of politics. The history of politics. If Richard Nixon had to resign because he covered up a break-in in which he had no prior knowledge of it and no prior knowledge of the planning of it, but he covered up, as far as trying to protect people. He had to resign because of that. Trump has to go. Trump has to go. And not just him. So, who is it? Who is it in his administration? Because that means that this isn't just about protecting Trump. It's about them protecting themselves. So you look at the people in his administration, J.D. Vance, the vice president, right? I don't think it's really him. I don't know. J.D. Vance wasn't really a player back in those days, as far as politically. Is it Marco Rubio? I mean, he's from Florida, Secretary of State. Secretary of Treasury Scott Bessent. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, who really isn't qualified for the position that he's serving. But, I mean, I don't know. Attorney General Pam Bondi. Well, I have heard rumors that there are some photos out there that haven't really gone viral or anything like that, but there are some photos supposedly that are out there of her at an Epstein party years and years ago. She's from Florida. Epstein has an estate in Florida. He lived in Florida. Is it Secretary of Interior Doug Burgum? I don't know. Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins. Labor Secretary Lori Chavez de Rimmer. Is it the Secretary of Health and Human Services, RFK Jr.? I don't know. I think he has some nutty ideas, but I don't think he is in that type of, I don't think he was ever into that, but I don't know. HUD Secretary Scott Turner. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy. What about Energy Secretary Chris Wright? Education Secretary Linda McMahon. Homeland Security Director Kristi Noem. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick. Well, one thing I do know is that at one point in time, from doing a little research, Lutnick was a next door neighbor of Epstein. So, who is it? Tulsi Gabbard? Or are there several people in his administration that have ties to Epstein and they're covering their asses too? Which is what I suspect. So, look, Ghislaine Maxwell is in a position where she would know these things. She was with Epstein all those years. So she would know who knew her longtime boyfriend, right? She would know these things. So I don't see her having any reason to lie in this scenario because it doesn't benefit the Trump administration, her saying that. But it's funny how nobody's saying anything about this until now. And that tells you that the mainstream media really doesn't, they want to talk about it, but only in the extent that it may hurt Trump politically on the margins. They don't really want to do a lot of research themselves because you have to wonder just how many people talk about Diddy parties. How many people were at these Epstein parties? You know? Because as we all know, when it comes to debauchery, when it comes to absolute disgusting, Sodom and Gomorrah savagery, the Democrats and Republicans have a lock on that. The Democrats can be absolute savages when it comes to sexual debauchery. Bill Clinton, JFK, right? But at the same time, it's a pretty well-known fact that whenever you have a Republican convention somewhere, right, the Grindr app absolutely goes fucking haywire. It almost crashes from the amount of people in that area that want to go on a down low or do all types of dirt. So Don't act like it's a Democrat or Republican. It's one of the few bipartisan activities that both parties engage in. So, you know, I just want to know who's on the. I want to know who's on the Epstein list. That's what I'm getting at, man. I don't care about Young Thug and the phone calls. I don't care about any of that shit, man. I want to know who's on the Epstein list. Now, we all know it's never going to be released because the most politically and economically omnipotent people in the world would absolutely burn everything down if that list was released. But as long as there are Epstein victims alive, because they're not going to kill them, or they're not going to unalive them all, there's still going to be a demand for transparency. So the Trump administration is in a fucked up position because this is never going away. It's not. MAGA can just kiss that shit goodbye. Kiss it goodbye. It's never going away. We want to know where that fucking list is. Okay? Where is the Epstein list? And I don't want to hear nothing about fucking Biden. I don't want to hear nothing about Ukraine. We don't care. Where is the Epstein list? I don't give a fuck if you can't release it. We still want to see it.